All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Andre Snowden. I am a ServiceNow ITOM and AI Ops architect. I eliminate data chaos through clean CMDB architecture and intelligent AI ops. I want to just talk about what this talk actually covers. Natural language queries in the CMDB, specifically in ServiceNow, powered by ServiceNow's AI Now Assist, can really let anyone search the CMDB in plain English. And this is pretty good because you don't have to be a super technical person to be able to type something like, hey, show me all the Linux servers in Chicago that are production Linux servers. If you just have a little bit of knowledge, you could type that into the natural language query in the CMDB workspace. And with this, you don't need a query builder. You need no SQL, no sort of training required. If you know the server name, or if you know maybe the business application like a Salesforce, or maybe you're using, one of your favorite websites like Finish Line or Google.com, you can search that in the CMDB and it should be able to pull up. A little bit about me before I get started. I've learned CMDB by doing the work. There wasn't really any boot camp, no shortcut, just years in the platform that I took. I remember the first CMDB project that I did. I just got thrown into it. I didn't even know what the CMDB was at that time. And that was one of the best things that could possibly have happened to me. And more on that story a little bit later. As a ServiceNow ITOM and AI Ops architect, I configure and tune Now Assist for the CMDB to leverage it to get better business outcomes. The CMDB can be very expensive through ServiceNow, so it needs to provide a lot of value. I do this hands-on work a lot, and it's something I'm deeply interested in. So I guess you could call me a janitor of sorts, but cleaning up messy data is basically what I do. The benefit of this, being able to use a natural language query that's powered by Now Assist and ServiceNow, this removes a lot of the technical gatekeeping. Your time to be able to get insight collapses from hours to seconds. And this works for executives, service owners, anyone who needs that answer quick. But there's a huge twist in this. None of that matters if the data, the process behind it, and the CMDB itself is not trustworthy. A fast AI engine on a broken foundation doesn't fix the foundation. It just delivers the wrong answers faster with more confidence. And what's even worse about that is now you got all these AI agents running around your ServiceNow instance, and yeah, that can be pretty cool. But if you don't have that proper foundation, now you're spinning up all these tokens and burning all this money just to get incorrect answers, just to drive outcomes that don't actually bring the business value. And this can really be detrimental to an organization. AI agents, support teams, owners, these are all resources that the company has to pay for. And when they're in one place, actioning on things that are inaccurate, then those are resources that can't be deployed somewhere else. Does this even matter? Well, in a digital world, in a world that increasingly runs on AI, increasingly is online, most of the businesses that you interact with have some sort of online presence. And the servers, the applications, the URLs, everything that makes up that business. When you think about the company Amazon, most of the people that interact with Amazon go on the website Amazon.com. That website Amazon.com is actually a configuration item. And that configuration item is housed in the CMDB. The CMDB is basically a digital map of the business capabilities. Anything that the business relies on digitally should be mapped there. And so you want this to be accurate in case things go down or in case you're trying to find any information very quick. And so why this even matters? Once incidents even do happen or problems even happen, you can get faster incident resolution. When something breaks, the CMDB shows your team exactly where to look for it first, cutting down the mean time to resolution, which is very, very important. The longer mean time to resolution takes, the more that customers' needs are not being met, the more money that a business has to spend. With a trustworthy CMDB, you can have proactive risk visibility. You can surface any sort of unpatched systems and vulnerabilities before they become incidents. And also cost optimization. You can identify and decommission infrastructure nobody's actually using anymore. So when I talked a little bit about the story where I got thrown into the CMDB, one of my first roles in ServiceNow was working as a CMDB developer and admin. One of the things we quickly found out after turning on Discovery was, wow, there's a bunch of duplicate AWS EC2 instances being spun up. Why is this happening? And they were spinning up critical duplicates of critical applications and critical servers that the business depended on to bring in revenue for its customers. Now, this isn't good because if one of those duplicates shows that it's down, that's going to send off an automated alert to PagerDuty and wake someone up out of their sleep in the middle of the night, and they're going to start working on a server that doesn't even exist anymore. Now, this is the value that the CMDB can bring. I noticed at that time, wow, we're seeing a lot of duplicates from this AWS discovery integration. I ended up working with the AWS team, and I found out that they had a process that wasn't very built out, and I was able to help them tune their process a little bit better. But essentially what they were doing was they were spinning up a bunch of backups for a lot of their critical production servers and databases and EC2 instances and things like that. This is good. We were glad that they were duplicating and providing backups as need be, but there was a gap in their process. They weren't keeping track of all the duplicate servers that they were spinning up. So there were a lot of servers just hanging around there. And those servers were not being patched correctly. They were not being maintained correctly. And that opens the gate for vulnerabilities. And then another big issue too is those servers were just hanging in the cloud. And everyone knows that AWS servers are not free. So this is one of the beauties of discovery. Because we were able to discover this and see this, now I was able to work with that AWS team and help them define a process on when to retire servers that they're no longer using. And from there, we were able to help the company save about 25% on their AWS spend for their cloud environment. These are just one of the things that you can do with a trustworthy CMDB. You can be very proactive and you can really cut down on costs. And then also, we were able to get rid of those duplicates in the CMDB. That way the resources are being deployed correctly and not working on things, CIs, configuration items that don't even exist. So you may be thinking, so why doesn't everyone use the CMDB then? Organizations invest millions in building a CMDB. Then a lot of times it sits underused. It might be locked behind a lot of technical complexity that only trained specialists can navigate. Most people outside of IT never even touch it and don't even trust what it says. And this is the gap that AI promises to close. But we'll see if AI can fix a lot of the issues that come about with the CMDB. Are you ready? Okay, so if we go to the CMDB workspace, we're actually able to go to something called intelligent search. And this is where all the natural language query magic happens. If we type in show me all Linux servers managed by AbleTutor, we're then able to see exactly what we're looking for. After we did our natural language query, we can quickly see all Linux servers that are managed by AbleTutor. This is powerful information to be able to get just by a simple question that we ask in the natural language query. Now I want to see all active servers. I want to see any server that's operational and active right now. We'll type our query in the CMDB workspace. Again, these are just such easy things for us to be able to type. All right, and it worked as expected. We see the operational status is operational for all the Linux servers that were listed here. We were able to quickly see all operational Linux servers. But there's a big issue here with some of these servers. Can you spot it out? Drop a comment. Let me know what issue you see with a lot of these operational Linux servers. I'm very interested to see if anybody will catch this. At this point, I want to see all production Linux servers. So let's go ahead and type this into the natural language query and let's see what pops up after that. And it showed all of our production Linux servers. We got our 2 Sour Mike and Ike's Linux servers and a Chewy Lemonhead's Linux server. But those 2 Sour Mike and Ike's Linux servers look a little weird. More on that a little bit later. Okay, so now let's look at another one. I said that we were going to come back to the Sour Mike and Ike's Linux server, and there were things there that were a little troubling when we looked at that server before. So let's go ahead and say, show me the Sour Mike and Ike's Linux server. We'll type this in and we'll see what pops up. Something very interesting popped up there, and I want to see if you guys caught that. So we quickly see when we search for the Sour Mike and Ike's Linux server, there's actually 2 of these servers. And what's even more troubling is one of these servers doesn't have a managed by group. It doesn't have an owned by value filled out. It also doesn't have anyone that's managing it. And it says that the environment is production. It says that the location is Chicago. So when we look at this, the one that is second is the one that's filled out correctly. It has a location of Chicago. It has an environment of production. We have a manager, we have a managed by group, and we have someone that's owning it as well. But that first one doesn't have any of those values filled out besides that the environment is production. The name is Sour Mike and Ike's Linux server. And the operational status is operational. This is a really big issue. This may look like a small issue, but we have a duplicate configuration item. And this causes a lot of issues because what if that duplicate, the one that's not fully filled out, what if that goes down? what if the operational status goes down? Now, ServiceNow a lot of times is integrated with a lot of different tools. And when production servers go down, that could trigger notifications, that could trigger an integration with some sort of alerting tool to alert the appropriate teams. But we see here that there is no group tied to the first Sour Micronix Linux server. So this is a duplicate. When production servers go down, that could trigger notifications, that could trigger an integration with some sort of alerting tool to alert the appropriate teams. But we see here that there is no group tied to the first Sour Micronix Linux server. So this is a duplicate, and if it goes down, it's actually not going to alert anyone. And what's even further in this, so what's a bigger issue as well is if this server goes down and there's no correct ownership tied to the server, then when it does go down, a lot of the teams are going to scramble. This is how you get into those bridge calls where there's 10, 15 people on the call and they're trying to figure out, okay, how do we bring this server back up? What are going to be the downstream and upstream dependencies of this going down? Like what business applications are going to be impacted by? Let's take another look at what happens and what are some of the impacts of having these duplicate servers in the CMDB. So we'll look and see what business applications will be impacted if the Sour Micronix Linux server was to go down. This is very crucial information that we can search. So we'll go ahead and click. Now, if we click into that correct Sour Micronix Linux server, we'll see that there is a business application, and it is the Skittles Taste the Rainbow ordering production business application. Now, if this server was to go down, we see that this Linux server is actually used by that business application and also used by the application service. So we can see that if this server goes down, that it's going to impact the Skittles Taste the Rainbow business application and the service instance, the Skittles Taste the Rainbow ordering production application service instance. This is one of the benefits of having a correctly filled out CMDB that's following the standard CSDM process. This is one of the benefits of having a correctly filled out CMDB that's following the standard CSDM. We like this configuration item record because it's going to be able to quickly see what the downstream and upstream impacts are of this configuration item when it goes down, this Linux server. Let's take a look at the duplicate Linux server. We see that none of these relationships are filled out here. And this is highly problematic because if this server goes down, and it shouldn't be in the CMDB in the first place, but if this server goes down, we don't have any support group, we don't have any sort of owner on the configuration item, we have no way to figure out how to get this thing up other than guessing. So maybe you look at the record that is not a duplicate. All that time that teams are taking and hesitating to figure out how to support this configuration item, it just spends money and resources that could have been deployed somewhere else. These sorts of issues compound quite a bit. In an enterprise CMDB. And this is why we want to make sure that we have those foundational things accounted for. AI is powerful, but it still cannot fix bad data. We saw with the Sour Micronix Linux servers, we have two servers with the same name, the same info, and only one of them were real. Only one of them had the right relationships to the application service, to its database, to the business application as well. Now, if that fake one goes down, the alarms still go off. And when those alarms go off, resources get deployed, money gets spent, time gets wasted. A whole team drops what they're doing to fix a server that never even needed to exist. The AI did not cause this mess, and it can't catch it either. It just repeats whatever the map says confidently, even when that map is wrong. Even when our digital map of the business, the CMDB, is wrong, AI will just quickly expose that gap, and it will spend more and more money just to do and complete a bad process. So lastly, AI does not fix your CMDB. It just exposes the gaps faster. I strongly urge everyone out there to fix the foundation first. Guys, I really appreciate you showing up to this talk today. Jace, thanks so much for putting on NullSTACK Beta 2026. Really appreciate what you did here. If anybody wants to contact me, you can reach me at YouTube at Snowden CMDB, or you can, if you're interested in working with me, there's my email down below, andre@snowdencmdb.com. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today, and I look forward to seeing you again. Bye.